Okay, this is Christophe Clugston, and I'm talking to you about self-protection versus self-defense versus basically commando hand-to-hand and all the things in between, and maybe some stuff about traditional martial arts, mixed martial arts, as in the sport fighting that you see in the UFC, and all of that, and dispelling some myths and legends and misconceptions along the way. Can't cover it all in this video because I want to keep it kind of short so that you'll pay attention, because you know how it is nowadays. People spend like 3 minutes to 5 watching videos, and I don't have a lot of things going on. I don't have a lot of expensive software going to add in things, because it just really doesn't become worth it, because I'm giving you free information here. So once again, this is about the information and about you making choices. Okay, so you may not know who I am. I was a former professional fighter, 75 fights on 3 continents. I've done boxing, shoot boxing, K1, Muay Thai. I was supposed to be in the UFC years and years ago, versing Kevin Jackson, actually, who was a silver medalist in wrestling for the United States. And what else have I done? Well, I'm a subject matter expert for military and contractors. I've done that for a very long time, and I've kind of moved back into that direction completely. And I've done that since the mid-90s, 1990s. And I also exploded on the scene in the mid-1990s and revolutionized the self-defense market and scene. And you can find more by basically Googling and looking up that sort of thing. I have strong recommendations, and I'm pretty controversial because I get results, and a lot of people don't know much about what I do, really, unless they've trained with me. And I started out in many different areas of martial arts, but then I went to Combat JKD and became the premier student for Mike Sandlin, legendary Combat JKD instructor, street fighter in East St. Louis. And from there, just went on and on. Been around many places in the world and have done lots of training, and lots of training of different people. So I got to just put that out there. For those of you who don't know, I have websites, fluentfighting.com, combat-judo.com, Facebook pages, and you can just, get more information that way. All right. So, and I've been around since, Web 1.0, long before the millennials have any clue, or the YouTube wannabe experts have anything. Well, before they started stealing some of my information from videos and DVDs, because I was out there way back in the 90s with that stuff. So, what do I have to tell you? Well, a lot of people want to confuse martial arts with not actual martial arts. Martial arts, actually, the etymology means martial means war. War, and arts means those sciences and techniques and tactics and stratagems that you would use in war. Now that is, in Latin, it's prolium ars, which I've used before, because that's a clearer name, because martial arts has been watered down. You think of 7-year-old black belts and strip malls and taekwondo things, Karate Kid, all this. It's about this and that. No, it's supposed to be about martial arts, meaning you win or you lose. It's not about having daycare centers or making a lot of money off of kids who really can't fight their way out of a paper bag, who parents would be better off putting their kids into boxing or wrestling programs, because those kids could kick the ass of these kids that are in martial arts. And if they want to say, well, they learn how to process things and think logically, and then put them into chess clubs and have them learn Latin. Those are empirically proven to do far better than you will do for these guys who are making multi-million dollars a year being glorified daycare centers and entertainment for children. Now, if that's what you are, and if you don't really give a damn about your self-defense or self-protection, leave this video now, because I'm not talking to you wannabes or you dilettantes. I'm talking to people who really give a damn. And who are those people? Well, in the United States, it really goes to people who start learning how to use guns, because they don't want to mess around. They don't want to go through some sort of oriental traditional approach that has them kowtowing and spending a lot of time before they really learn effective techniques that they can use. 1 year before they can actually fight. What happens if they get someone tries to carjack them or home invades them in a month or that night? What are they going to do? Nothing. They're done. They're over with. That traditional model is, of course, to retain students and have a long-term payment. Everything's a business. Everybody's trying to make money. I make money off of results, and I deal with the hardest core of the hardest core. Now, let's just kind of jump forward to say, commando hand-to-hand. Where does that exist nowadays? Because people say, that's not about what they do. Yeah, it is. And I'm kind of like divulging some insider information that dilettantes and the general public really doesn't need to know, because they're never going to be involved in it. But there are people who, in different situations, and many, the Foreign Legion, for example, the United States Rangers, the Delta Special Forces, Marine Raiders, even FBI guys who, there's different levels of FBI guys who do things. Secret Service, of course, that's in the United States. Those things are replicated in many other countries. And I've trained people in several different countries in several different languages. What do we have to do? Well, I'm giving out information. I'm only going to do this a little bit. I'm not going to delve into it. Well, where do they have it? Anybody who works long range, behind the lines reconnaissance needs to know how to fight hand to hand, because that's going to happen. Urban and jungle is the main areas that I've covered, and that's one of the main areas that you'll see the history of it coming from and developing. Not to say that it doesn't happen in the Arctic or in the desert, but you can see people coming, and it's a lot harder to fight in those environments hand to hand. It's slower, and one of the things is the modern day battlefield is vastly different than what it was in World War II or Korea or even Vietnam. People carry, the guys are carrying more weight. They're carrying body armor. They're carrying more communication devices. They have shorter weapons, lighter weapons, so they carry more ammo. Actually, now ammo's becoming, there's not even using metal anymore. It's giving away some stuff here ahead of time. So are there uses for things actually hand to hand? Well, in certain situations, you cannot fire. You don't even have a silencer. You can't do it. You try to do a room clear and someone busts out of a closet. You're never going to get any sort of firearm up. You're not going to get an MP4 up. You're not going to get a Sig Sauer pistol, a Beretta, a Glock. None of it's coming up. You're not going to get to it. You're going to be hands on hands. If you're lucky, if you know where you're placing your knives, you'll get to those. So yes, there is something that I specialize in, and one of the few people in the world that does it, and that's the Commando knife method. Founded back in World War II, basically is where it started, because the knives like this is an M3, and the M3 it leads to a different technology. Of course, a lot of people think in the World War II, and it's going to pull it out. The K-bar and the M3 were devised at the same time. K-bar, of course, is more famous at this point in time. Now, an actual Commando knife that was used throughout in 6 different wars, and that still exists today in a different version, is the EK. This EK is designed specifically as a Commando knife for its primary usage. Now, the Commando method was designed to defeat the Japanese fighters, of course, were a blade culture, and especially in the Pacific with the Marine Raiders, the 6th Army Rangers, and the 6th Army secret Alamo Scouts, who very few people know about, and have been the most successful special forces that the United States has ever created. They never lost a guy over 100 missions, never. So some of you may know about the Marine Raiders, and they've been reignited, I guess. Now there's now Raider divisions, regiments in the Marines again. But I don't want to sidetrack down off into those areas. But what I'm trying to say is the knives have been used. They've been used, and they're continually to be used. There are ways to use them. A lot of people get confused about Filipino methods. Commando method was designed to defeat the Filipino method and the Japanese method. And also, there's a great deal of differences. The Commando method encompasses things from European fighting and also from the Bowie method. It's very different, though. So if you want to learn how to do that, we have courses coming up throughout the United States generally, and then Southeast Asia. So you can look on fluentfighting.com. That always has what's the next training coming up. So Commando training, of course, in hand-to-hand, it also includes weapons. So I'm actually a subject matter expert at zero-distance warfare. Zero-distance warfare is the complete opposite of sniper training. Snipers are the longest range. They're also the most effective because the psychological ability to kill from a distance is much easier for humans than up close. It's not as much of a struggle. They don't know they're going to be killed, basically. Whereas in H2H, yeah, unless you're doing attack or ambushes, which is what most knife systems are. They're attack or ambushes, just like the prison system. That's not a knife fighting system. If you don't have defense and offense, it's not a knife fighting system. It's a knife attacking or a knife ambushing system. And these guys who've come up with a lot of different systems like the Piper and some other bullshit that uses 4-inch knives, they'll die against us. And they've never, ever wanted to do it. They make up excuses, about this. Yeah, anybody can kill anybody by attacking or ambushing, but can you knife fight? No, that's what the Commando system was designed for, because in the Pacific, they were running up against guys who had been taught, like the Japanese or Filipino people who were helping the Japanese. There are quite a few guerrilla Filipino fighters that helped the United States, but there were those who were aligned with the Japanese, and also on the other islands, Solomon Islands, Papua New Guinea, throughout that entire Indonesia, that entire area. Pacific was a hotbed of fighting that most people don't know about. The Japanese basically owned that entire area to the very near end of the war. But I don't want to get sidetracked on that. But is this vastly different than MMA? Yes. MMA considers, and sport fighting considers, a symmetrical battlefield. It does not consider an asymmetrical battlefield. It considers a well-lit, well-regulated, well-controlled environment. You're not on slippery, you're not in mud, you're not in snow, you're not in ice, you're not in a place where the lights go out, you're not in a place where the ground gives way to rock, concrete, steel, glass, broken glass, any of those things, which vastly changes the fact that you cannot do takedowns like you do. Plus, you're not wearing armor. You're not wearing 70 to 100 pounds worth of equipment on you. Your restrictions are very light because you're not wearing shoes or boots, and you're wearing gloves. This is the exact opposite of what normal life is about. Everybody's wearing shoes or boots, and they're not wearing gloves. So they have to learn how to fight in those conditions. You have to learn how to fight in constricted things and low lighting. What happens if there's two people? What if there's weapons involved? There goes your BJJ. Horizontal grappling is death. That's why the Vikings and the Romans didn't do it. You stand up grappling, vertical grappling, yes, that's part of the fight. But you cannot go to the ground on this one-on-one trying to get positions and all that. You'll be killed because it's asymmetrical battlefield. So I just wanted to cover some of those things, probably piss off a few of you people who are traditionalists and want to defend sport fighting. I'm here. I fought at a high level, high level, held belts, held titles in sport fighting, and it's out the window when I'm teaching commandos. Basically, I use that term commando because it's used around the world to talk about elite troops that have some sort of infantry. Infantry in this case, I don't mean standard line. I mean people are going to have contact in the zero distance warfare zone, because that's where urban fighting is now at. That's where jungle fighting happens. You're lucky if you can see people who are camoed and know how to move through the jungle very well. That's very hot, sticky, difficult environment. In the rainy season, it's insanely hard to see. It's insanely hard to get good footing. So those things, those techniques that have worked, those tactics that work, and we're tactical. We're not about techniques. Techniques are what sport fighters do. They want to gather techniques. No, we don't. We just like shooting, tactical shooting, there's only a few ways to shoot that work effectively. With a pistol, it's different than it is with a carbine. That's different than it is with a shotgun. Those things are okay. Those things exist, but those things also exist in what we're doing. But the overall tactics are what switch it. How do you fight in the Arctic? How do you fight in the snow? How do you fight in the mud? How do you fight in the urban scene? How do you fight at nighttime? How do you fight in the low lighting? That's another thing I want to say just about the Filipino martial arts type of knife fighting. They're too close to each other. If there's no lighting, they both die. It's a sort of a thing that looks good for people because they think, oh, that looks really cool. But it's not about looking cool. It's about surviving. It's about coming out. And it's also about how quickly you can get it done. Because in real battle, you need to be moving A to B. If you're stagnating, then you're become a target. You're slow moving and you're stationary. That means that you can be enveloped and taken down by the pack. All right, so I've covered a lot of things. I put out real information. I've disclosed things to those of you who don't really know about military and contractors, what they have to do and what they have to put up with. And there's far more, but I'm not going into it with you. I'm not here just for entertainment purposes. I'm here to illustrate the fact that I do know what I'm talking about. I've done it for a very long time, longer than most of these other people. I've been a subject matter expert since like 1995 or 4. I'm trying to remember the first instance of doing that. So anyway, I want you to be aware that you can get that sort of training through us. Fluentfighting.com is my main site. You can find me on Facebook, Clugston Combat Systems, and you can also look up Christophe Clugston. I have another site, combat-judo.com, and a few others, but you can research that. You can see the controversy about me, the haters who don't like me, the people who try to downplay me, but who never face me, who never come up and empirically prove that they have something. They just want to do ad hominems. So you got to accept all of that because that's what we're dealing with nowadays in this Web 2.0 world. And I just want to put that out there for you, educate you, give you a chance to put away the propaganda from those places you're going to hear right now, it'd be great if you train with me. It'd be there's only a few people who really do what I do. Maybe Tim Kennedy will train you. You know, there's a guy who knows what he's doing. But there aren't many, you know, and there's some others in some other countries. But if you're listening to me in English, you probably wouldn't work with them, you know, because they speak French or Spanish, unless you can speak those languages, and some German guys. Anyway, I will talk to you later. Remember, fluentfighting.com, practice, train, like, subscribe, spread this around, start some controversy, because I'm not here to be liked by the mainstream martial arts guys. No way. That would be signpost. I'm doing things wrong. All right. So this is Christophe Clugston. I'll talk to you later, guys. Bye.